Hey everybody, this is Joseph Vogely of Stogely Films. I am the co-writer, the director, and the creator of the new slasher sensation Specimen 6, which will be out on DVD very soon at the end of June, beginning of July on both DVD and digital rental. Today I wanted to talk about a few things to help out people who are aspiring to become their own independent filmmaker. I thought, well, why don't I take some of this knowledge that I've gained throughout the last, 5, 6 years making my own movies, because you end up doing things that you shouldn't do, and you end up learning things that you after doing the wrong thing. So maybe I can skip a little bit of that pain for you, as it were. So this week, I want to talk to you about the top 5 must-do things if you are beginning out as an independent filmmaker. These are very simple things, but often things that can be overlooked or underthought. Number 1, basically have confidence in yourself. A lot of times people, and this was the same for me, where I sat around for years with my friends and we'd always say, hey, let's go make a movie, and then we'd crack open a beer and we wouldn't make a movie. So the big thing is, don't crack open that beer, actually make a movie. Pick up your pen and paper, write out your ideas, the things that you want to see in a film. That is a big thing. What do you want to see in a film, and how will you do it? Once you're done doing that, go and find a script. Maybe you know somebody that has a script. I would suggest starting out small, starting out with a 5 or a 10-minute short, and then do several of those before, moving on to a feature. So work on a script for about 5 minutes short or so. Really study short films before you do that. It is really kind of integral for you to do that, to understand the beats that you have to do and how do you tell a full story within just a few minutes. Okay. So that would be number 1. Number 2, since you really don't have much of a budget, maybe you have a few $100s, maybe you have a few dollars, what do you have at hand that you can use to make a movie? Right now, I'm working on my iPhone. So do you have an iPhone? Are you watching this video on an iPhone? You can use that. There's some really good free software that comes with that you can use. Maybe you have an old VHS recorder that you want to use with a bunch of old dusty VHS tapes you have sitting around. Use that. It doesn't matter what the equipment is at this level. If you have a passion in your heart, then go find a camera, any camera, and make sure that you shoot it. Don't think about the quality too much, because your first few films are going to be a little rough. That's just the learning curve. Don't let it get to you. Again, you have to have confidence in yourself and be happy with what your product ends up being, because it is a labor of love of what you're doing. So number 2, make sure that you cast the right people in your film. That being people that you can rely upon. So I know you got a lot of friends that want to be in the film. Can that person actually show up on set? Because if you are spending money and you're doing all that and you really want to make this film, and make sure that these people are the people that can be in this film and can be relied upon, because it takes a lot of trust to make movies, and that's a big thing. When you're on set making an independent film, you have to trust each other. Let's say I need somebody to show up at a certain time because I only have a location blocked out for me for 2 hours. If that person shows up an hour late, well, now I only have an hour to get that scene done. So what am I going to do? So make sure that you get the people that are going to be in this film know to be on time. So make sure, maybe hopefully they have a passion in their heart, and maybe that's just what sort of a friend they are or a family member. Can they show up? If not, if you got a little question about it, I would question that in myself. As far as those people go. So reliable is a good thing when it comes to independent filmmaking, unless you end up needing to put yourself into the movie in certain ways, as I have had to do before. So, okay, number 3, props. What props do you have that you can use for this film? And this can include anything. So in my first movie, The Last Temptation of Bible Boy, I used what was this evil looking book, and I wrote it in the script and not thinking, I'm like, well, wouldn't it be cool to have this really evil looking script book in this movie? And then when it came down to it, I realized I had to make it. And so this was part of the learning thing, and this was part of the great thing, and I can show it to you right here. You see what that looks like right there? I made it with my co-producer, co-director, John Stone. We bought latex. We didn't know what we were doing. We watched a lot of tutorials on YouTube to figure out how to use the latex and everything like that. So that's another thing when you're making props for your movie. There's thousands of tutorials on how to do things on YouTube. I highly suggest you, I didn't type in how to make an evil book, but I did type in how to work with latex and this and that, and then I looked up to see how much they cost and everything like that. So, and it was a long process. I'm going to do another video on how to show how to do that. So make your list of what props you need in your movie, and then get enough time, figure out where that time is to figure out how to make these props, because when it shows up, you're going to have to do that beforehand, because on the day of, if you don't have those props, you're going to end up losing time again. So know what your equipment's going to be, know where your props are going to be. Lists are good things to make. So props, it's a good thing. All right, number 4, I can't stress this enough when it comes to filmmaking. You want to overplan everything, because you can assume that things might go wrong, and if you're making an independent horror film, they most likely will go wrong. So overplan who's working on the movie, you know, what time they're going to be there. So say that you want to get shooting at 9 a.m., make sure everybody's there by 8. I would say that 8:30. You don't want to give them that little wiggle room, so 8 o'clock. Check what the weather's going to be if you're shooting outside. Make sure that it's going to be a hot, dry day out there if you don't want any rain, or make sure it's going to rain if you do want to have rain, because those things can change on a drop of a dime. What I'm saying is anything can happen, so you want to overplan for everything. Make those lists, think about what's the worst possible scenario that could happen when I'm trying to film this scene. Because I guarantee you, I've had that worst possible scenario happen to me many times. So overplan. That's number 4. That's the big thing. The biggest thing for making a horror film, for making sure that people show up, and I can't stress this one enough either. So the number 5 big thing, when you're on set and you're asking people to get blood dumped on them, when you're saying, please sit in that chair for 5 hours as I apply this makeup, please do all these crazy things I'm asking you to do, the big thing to do is feed your cast. You might not be paying them, but make sure they got a full belly. A person with a full belly, an actor with a full belly, is a happy actor, no matter under almost any circumstances. So again, number 5, feed your cast. And there's lots of other things to learn and to know to be starting out as an independent horror director, and I'm going to be showing more videos, but these are the top 5 things to really start with. But again, I want to go over that first one. Have confidence in yourself and put the beer down and write your script. You have to tell yourself, am I really serious about making this film? So number 1, have confidence. 2, cast people you know are reliable. 3, double check your equipment and your props before you're on set. Make sure you're ready to go. 4 is kind of part of 3, over plan for anything. Contingency. A director is always coming up with contingencies to make their movie. And 5, big, what really works is if you make big pots of chili, lasagnas, things of that nature. Always ask people what their preference is. Are you a meat eater? Are you a vegetarian? Got to make sure that they can eat what you're giving them, but feed your cast. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me here again, and I really hope that you take my words to heart, and I really hope that you all pick up a camera and make a movie, because I like to watch those movies. So please hit the subscribe button and join us here for another video in a couple days, and I really hope everybody's doing well out there. All right, talk to you soon.